Let me ask you a serious question. What if the biggest problem in your life is not bad luck, not your circumstances, and not other people, but the habits you repeat every single day? Most people imagine that failure happens suddenly. They imagine a dramatic moment where everything collapses. A major mistake, a financial disaster, a sudden crisis that changes everything. But in reality, failure rarely happens like that. Instead, failure grows quietly through small habits. Habits that seem harmless in the moment. Habits that feel normal. Habits that millions of people follow every day without questioning them. These habits slowly shape your life. They influence how you spend your time, how you think, how you react to challenges, how you make decisions. And over time, these small patterns begin determining your future. Imagine two people who start life with similar opportunities. They have similar intelligence, similar education, similar environments. But one person develops habits that push them toward growth, while the other follows habits that slowly limit their potential. At first, the difference between them is almost invisible. Their lives look very similar. But after several years, the gap becomes enormous. One person grows stronger, wiser, and more capable. The other feels stuck, frustrated, and confused about why life never seems to improve. The truth is that habits are incredibly powerful. They shape your identity, they influence your mindset, and eventually, they determine your results. The good news is that once you recognize destructive habits, you gain the power to change them. But before you can change something, you must first become aware of it. Today we are going to explore 7 habits that quietly ruin people's lives. These habits are extremely common. In fact, most people practice several of them without even realizing it. The first habit that destroys potential is constant distraction. Modern technology has made distraction easier than ever before. Your phone vibrates constantly. Notifications appear throughout the day. Messages arrive from multiple apps. Videos autoplay endlessly. Social media feeds are designed to keep your attention for as long as possible. Each distraction seems small. You check your phone for just a few seconds. You watch one short video. You scroll through a few posts. But these small interruptions have a powerful effect on your brain. They train your mind to avoid deep focus. Instead of concentrating on meaningful work, your attention becomes scattered. You jump from one stimulus to another, and over time, your ability to concentrate weakens. This is extremely dangerous in a world where focus is becoming one of the most valuable skills. The individuals who can concentrate deeply often produce better work, learn faster, and create more opportunities. But distraction slowly steals that advantage. The second habit that quietly ruins people's lives is procrastination. Procrastination is often misunderstood. Many people believe procrastination is simply laziness, but in reality, procrastination is usually caused by emotional discomfort. When a task feels difficult or uncertain, your brain searches for something easier, something that provides quick satisfaction. Checking messages, watching videos, scrolling through social media. These activities provide immediate pleasure, but they delay the work that could actually improve your life. The problem with procrastination is not just lost time. It also damages your confidence. Every time you delay an important task, you send a message to yourself, a message that says you cannot trust your own plans. And once self-trust begins to weaken, motivation becomes even harder to maintain. Another habit that quietly destroys potential is negative self-talk. Every person has an internal voice, a voice that comments on your actions and decisions. For some people, this voice is supportive and encouraging. But for many people, this voice becomes extremely critical. They constantly tell themselves that they are not capable, not intelligent enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough. These thoughts may seem harmless at first, but repeated thoughts eventually become beliefs. and beliefs strongly influence behavior. If you believe you cannot succeed, you will hesitate to try. If you believe improvement is impossible, you will stop investing effort. Over time, these beliefs become self-fulfilling. The mind begins creating exactly the results it expects. Another destructive habit is constant comparison. Humans naturally compare themselves to others, but modern social media has intensified this habit dramatically. Every day you see images of other people's success, their achievements, their luxury lifestyles, their perfect moments. But what you rarely see is the reality behind those images. You do not see the years of struggle, the failures, the doubts, the sacrifices. You are comparing your real life to someone else's highlight moments. This creates a distorted perspective. Instead of appreciating your own progress, you begin feeling inadequate. You feel behind. You feel like everyone else is moving forward while you remain stuck. But the truth is that every person follows a different timeline. Some people achieve success early. Others find their path later in life. Some people experience several failures before discovering what works. None of these paths are wrong. What matters is consistent progress, not perfect timing. The fifth habit that ruins people's lives is avoiding discomfort. Comfort feels pleasant. It feels safe. It feels predictable. But comfort can also become a trap. Growth almost always requires discomfort. Learning new skills involves making mistakes. Improving your health requires physical effort. Building a business involves uncertainty and risk. If you constantly avoid discomfort, you also avoid growth. Many people spend their entire lives choosing the easiest path. And while this may feel comfortable in the moment, it prevents them from reaching their potential. Discomfort is not always something to fear. Often it is a sign that progress is happening. Another destructive habit is wasting free time. Most people think success depends only on what happens during working hours, but free time often determines long-term success. What you do after work matters. Do you spend that time learning something valuable, practicing a skill, building something meaningful, or do you spend it consuming endless entertainment? Entertainment is not necessarily harmful. Everyone needs rest. But when entertainment dominates your life, it quietly steals opportunities for improvement. Even 1 hour per day invested in learning can create powerful change over several years. The final habit that ruins people's lives is ignoring long-term thinking. Many people focus only on immediate rewards. They want quick results, quick success, quick comfort. But meaningful achievements usually require patience. Learning valuable skills takes time. Building a career takes time. Creating financial stability takes time. The individuals who succeed understand this principle. They are willing to invest effort today for results that may appear much later. This ability to think long-term separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. And the most powerful realization you can have is this: your life is not determined by one dramatic moment. It is determined by the habits you repeat every single day. And once you begin changing those habits, you begin changing your future. Now that we have identified some of the habits that quietly destroy people's potential, an important question remains. Why do so many people continue following these habits, even when they know they are harmful? The answer lies in how the human brain works. Your brain is designed to conserve energy. It prefers routines. It prefers predictable patterns. Once a habit becomes automatic, the brain repeats it without much effort. This is useful for simple tasks like brushing your teeth or driving familiar routes, but it also means destructive habits can become deeply ingrained. A person might know that scrolling on their phone for hours is wasting time, but because the habit is automatic, they continue repeating it. Breaking these patterns requires awareness and intentional effort. The first step toward changing any habit is noticing when it happens. Many habits operate below conscious awareness. You open your phone without thinking. You postpone tasks automatically. You compare yourself to others without realizing it. But when you begin observing your behavior more carefully, you start noticing these patterns. This awareness creates a small but powerful gap, a gap between impulse and action. Inside that gap lies the possibility of change. Another reason destructive habits persist is because they often provide immediate rewards. Distractions provide entertainment. Procrastination provides temporary relief from difficult tasks. Comfort provides emotional safety. These rewards appear instantly, while the negative consequences appear slowly. This creates a dangerous illusion. In the short term, the habit feels beneficial, but over the long term, the costs become enormous. For example, spending hours on entertainment may feel relaxing today, but if that habit continues for years, it steals thousands of hours that could have been invested in learning, building, and improving. This delayed consequence makes destructive habits difficult to recognize. Another important concept to understand is identity. Your identity is the story you tell yourself about who you are. If you believe you are someone who lacks discipline, your behavior will often match that belief. If you believe you are someone who constantly procrastinates, you will likely continue doing it. But identity can be reshaped. Instead of saying, I am a person who procrastinates, you can begin saying, I am someone who takes action. Instead of believing, I am easily distracted, you can adopt the identity of someone who protects their focus. These identity shifts may sound simple, but they gradually influence behavior. When your actions align with your identity, habits begin changing naturally. Another powerful strategy for breaking destructive habits is replacing them rather than eliminating them. The brain dislikes sudden voids in routine. If you remove a habit completely without replacing it, the brain often returns to the old pattern. But when you replace a destructive habit with a constructive one, change becomes easier. For example, instead of checking social media whenever you feel bored, you might read a few pages of a book. Instead of postponing tasks completely, you might commit to working on them for just 10 minutes. These small replacements gradually reshape your daily routines. Another important step toward building a better future is designing your environment carefully. Your surroundings influence your behavior more than you might realize. If your phone constantly sits beside you while you work, distractions become almost inevitable. If your environment contains only entertainment and no tools for learning, growth becomes difficult. But small changes in environment can produce powerful results. Placing books within reach encourages reading. Turning off notifications reduces distractions. Creating a dedicated workspace improves focus. Your environment quietly shapes your habits. Another critical element of success is learning to tolerate boredom. This idea may sound unusual in a world filled with constant stimulation, but boredom actually plays an important role in creativity and deep thinking. When the mind is not constantly entertained, it begins exploring ideas. It begins solving problems. It begins imagining possibilities. But if every moment of boredom is immediately filled with entertainment, these mental processes disappear. The ability to sit quietly and think is becoming increasingly rare. Yet it remains one of the most valuable abilities for innovation and problem solving. Another habit that successful individuals develop is deliberate practice. Deliberate practice means intentionally improving specific skills. It involves focused effort rather than casual repetition. For example, someone learning a skill does not simply repeat the same actions. They analyze their mistakes. They seek feedback. They refine their techniques. This kind of focused improvement accelerates growth dramatically. Many people spend years repeating activities without significant progress because they never engage in deliberate practice. but those who do often achieve mastery much faster. Another important principle is patience. In a world where everything feels instant, patience becomes extremely powerful. Success rarely happens overnight. Skills require time to develop. Opportunities require time to appear. Trust requires time to build. People who expect immediate results often become discouraged quickly. They abandon their efforts too early. But those who remain patient while continuing consistent effort often achieve remarkable outcomes. Another habit that transforms lives is reflection. Reflection means regularly examining your actions and decisions. What worked well? What mistakes occurred? What can be improved next time? Without reflection, people repeat the same patterns indefinitely. But reflection turns experience into learning, and learning turns mistakes into progress. Many successful individuals dedicate time each week to thinking about their actions and adjusting their strategies. This habit helps them evolve continuously. One final principle is responsibility. Taking responsibility for your life does not mean blaming yourself for every problem. It means recognizing that you have the power to influence your future. Circumstances may create challenges, but your response to those challenges determines what happens next. When you accept responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to fix your situation. You begin looking for ways to improve it yourself. This mindset creates empowerment, and empowerment leads to action. Over time, these small shifts begin transforming your habits. Distractions become less powerful. Focus becomes stronger. Confidence grows through consistent action. And the future that once seemed distant begins becoming possible because habits are powerful. But the ability to change habits is even more powerful. And once you begin mastering your habits, you begin mastering your life. Now that we understand the habits that quietly destroy people's lives, the next step is replacing them with habits that build a powerful future. Because the truth is simple. Your life will always move in the direction of your habits. If your habits improve, your life improves. If your habits remain destructive, your future will reflect that as well. The first powerful habit that can transform your life is protecting your focus. Focus is becoming one of the rarest and most valuable skills in the modern world. While millions of people are distracted by endless notifications, successful individuals learn how to guard their attention carefully. They reduce unnecessary distractions. They create time for deep work. They dedicate uninterrupted periods to learning, building, and thinking. This ability allows them to produce better results in less time. Over months and years, this focused effort creates enormous advantages. The second powerful habit is taking immediate action. Most opportunities in life are lost because people hesitate. They overthink, they delay, they wait for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment rarely appears. People who succeed understand that progress comes from action. Even small actions create momentum. Once momentum begins, confidence grows. And confidence makes larger actions easier. Taking action does not guarantee immediate success, but refusing to act almost guarantees stagnation. The third powerful habit is controlling your internal dialogue. Your thoughts influence your emotions. Your emotions influence your behavior, and your behavior influences your results. When your internal voice constantly criticizes you, your confidence weakens. But when your internal voice encourages growth and effort, your behavior becomes stronger. This does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. It means focusing on solutions instead of limitations. Instead of asking, "Why am I not capable?" you begin asking, "What can I learn to improve?" This shift in thinking transforms how you approach challenges. Another powerful habit is investing in continuous learning. The world changes rapidly. Industries evolve. Technologies advance. Opportunities appear in unexpected places. People who stop learning eventually fall behind. but individuals who continue expanding their knowledge remain adaptable. They recognize new trends. They develop valuable skills. They become capable of solving increasingly complex problems. Learning does not always require formal education. Books, courses, online resources, and real-world experience can all contribute to growth. Even dedicating a small amount of time each day to learning can create extraordinary results over several years. Another habit that dramatically improves life outcomes is embracing discomfort. Growth always exists outside the comfort zone. When you challenge yourself regularly, your abilities expand. Difficult conversations improve communication skills. Challenging projects develop problem-solving abilities. Physical exercise builds discipline and resilience. Discomfort is not something to fear. Often it is evidence that progress is happening. The more comfortable you become with temporary discomfort, the faster you grow. Another important habit is managing time intentionally. Time is the only resource that cannot be replaced. Once it passes, it never returns. Yet many people spend their time carelessly. They allow distractions to consume hours. They postpone meaningful activities. They drift through their days without clear priorities. Successful individuals treat time differently. They plan their days. They identify important tasks. They protect the hours that matter most. Even small improvements in time management can produce powerful long-term benefits. One additional habit that transforms lives is gratitude. This idea may seem simple, but it has profound psychological effects. Gratitude shifts your attention toward what is working instead of what is missing. It reduces unnecessary stress. It improves emotional resilience. And it reminds you that progress often happens gradually. When you appreciate small improvements, motivation becomes easier to maintain. Over time, these positive habits begin reinforcing each other. Focus improves productivity. Productivity increases confidence. Confidence encourages learning. Learning creates new opportunities, and opportunities lead to further growth. This cycle gradually replaces the destructive patterns that once limited your potential. The most important realization is that transformation rarely happens overnight. It happens through consistent effort. Small improvements repeated daily. Each positive habit may appear insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound into powerful change. A single hour of focused learning today may not feel dramatic, but repeated for hundreds of days, it creates knowledge that can transform your career. A single workout may not transform your health, but repeated consistently, it builds strength and discipline. A single moment of courage may not change everything, but repeated acts of courage gradually reshape your identity. The person you become tomorrow is created by the actions you choose today. And the most powerful decision you can make is choosing better habits. Because once your habits begin working for you instead of against you, your future begins changing automatically. The direction of your life shifts. Opportunities become easier to recognize. Challenges become easier to overcome. And the potential that once seemed distant slowly becomes reality. Your future is not determined by luck. It is determined by the habits you choose to repeat every single day. Choose wisely, because those habits are quietly building the life you will experience tomorrow.